season, kind of going over my team. I have made some changes to my team and kind of addressing some of your concerns about my team. As you guys may know, may or may not know, I did live stream the draft, and the VOD of that live stream got a lot of overwhelming doom and gloom about my team, and so I felt like it was time to maybe address some of that. And just know that it's your opinion. My opinion might differ from your opinion. So anything that I say in this video that you think is wrong, I'm sorry. I'm not right. You're not right. It's basically just open discussion. And the main purpose of this video is just for relaxation purposes. A lot of people like to listen to ASMR about their favorite subjects, and fantasy football is huge. So we will be doing a fantasy football ramble, and if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys some bonus DFS, some insight on daily fantasy sports. I have been playing FanDuel every week, as well as some extra single game slates and stuff like that. I believe, 3-1. Yeah, I think I'm 3-2 when it comes to FanDuel. I'm 2-1 in the main slate. Through the first 3 weeks, I've cashed 2 days. I've cashed 2 weeks, and I missed 1 week. And then I'm 1-1 in single game slates. One of those, the only win coming from last night, and it was actually a really big win. So, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button before you sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, here we have my team, and I still am I'm liking my team more now than I was on night 1, despite getting all of these comments saying that I was going to come in last place. If you go and review, the VOD, yes, there are some decisions that I wish I had made otherwise. I wish that I had gone a different route. But by and large, I still really like my team. Now, we are currently sitting at 1-2, and I was able to get a win while drafting Kamara, I believe. Where is his draft? Where is his more? Let's see, no, not more. Where's his history? Can I not see that? I guess I can't see the history of when he was drafted. At least not on this screen, which is weird. Alvin Kamara, I think I got him on the 6th round. Obviously faced a 3-game suspension, and I went into the draft knowing that. But still, I think that Kamara is one of the more explosive running backs in the NFL. He is a dual threat. He is a receiving running back, rushing running back. Hopefully, he's still the Alvin Kamara of old. Definitely has a very weak schedule, but the fact that I was able to get a win without him, without my 6th round pick, and on top of that, Travis Kelce was hurt for week 1, which we kind of, that kind of screwed us up for week 1. The fact that we were able to get a win without Kamara is perfect. We are exactly where we wanted to be going into week 4. You kind of tank those first 3 weeks, or not really tank, but you kind of go into those first 3 weeks knowing that you're probably not going to win without, one of your, 6th round doesn't sound like it's that important of a pick, but if you probably go back and look, at who was available in the 6th round. You might be surprised as to some of the other talent that we could have maybe had to help us win the first 3 weeks, but we have Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. Etienne has been a pretty solid workhorse. He had a week, a not so strong week 2, which, to be honest, the entire team did not look strong against Kansas City. That was a terrible, terrible game to watch. I watched pretty much that whole game. Both Kansas City and the Jags looked pretty bad. Kind of same score is reflected here. A decent week 1, bad week 2, an average week 3 for Trevor Lawrence here. It's very it seems like when Travis Etienne does well, so does Trevor Lawrence, and vice versa. You know, you gotta have a successful run game to be successful. Looking at our wide receivers, we do have Christian Watson. I did not draft Christian Watson. I was able to acquire Christian Watson in a trade, a 1-for-1 trade. And I feel a little bit bad about this trade because the timing of it was perfect in my favor. I traded Alexander Madison for Christian Watson straight up, and it was probably 3 hours before Cam Akers got traded to Minnesota. So, of course, Alexander Madison, I believe, had a pretty solid week last week, but that definitely hurts his value as far as, like, he kind of was the only guy in Minnesota, and now he's going to be splitting time with Cam Akers. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for him. Probably bad. But we'll see. Also, Courtland Sutton has been pretty stellar. He's sitting at wide receiver 29 right now, which is not bad. I want to say I got him maybe like the 7th or 8th round. I wish I could find that. I wish I could find his... Where is his draft stock? I feel like they should put it like right here, like when he was drafted. Courtland Sutton has been very nice for me. He was my wide receiver 2. Now with Christian Watson, he's my wide receiver 3. And honestly, Courtland Sutton is a wide receiver 3. If your wide receiver 3 can get you 9 or more points, like, that's pretty solid, especially when you went the route that I went, which was, I think I drafted Kelsey first, in the first round, and then I went back-to-back running backs, and then I went with a receiver and DJ Moore, I think, and then I think I went back-to-back running backs again. I think I had 4 running backs, like, going into, like, the 6th round or 7th round, something like that, and that was a big gripe for you guys for some reason, even though running backs are important. In my opinion, it is a 2-flex league, by the way, so I can start 4 running backs if I want to. As a matter of fact, I am going to be doing that probably every week moving forward. But, where was I? DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore has been pretty, he's trending upward, which is good. He got 100% of the snaps, which is really good for receivers. You definitely want receivers that get high snap counts. Christian Watson, what did he have last night? 46%. That's fine. He's coming off of injury. They probably had him, they were probably monitoring him pretty heavily, so they probably were, getting him, 2 plays at a time, 1 play at a time kind of deal. Courtland Sutton, his snap percentage, 95%, so like the very high percent snap rate for Courtland Sutton. And DJ Moore, Travis Etienne, 70-80%. Not bad, not bad. Obviously, Travis Kelce, Wait. I wonder if they're monetized. I mean, to be fair, tight ends don't play 100% of the snaps. They don't. I don't think any tight end does. I'm not sure about that. Maybe this is injury related, but I mean, it's Travis Kelce. I'm not really worried about that. Mr. Taylor Swift himself seems to be taking over the internet. Like I said, he was out week 1, but week 2, even in a terrible outing against the Jags, was able to score a touchdown, and then against Chicago was also able to score a touchdown. He has been perfect. He's been exactly what I've needed him to be, which is a consistent tight end every single week. Outside of week 1, of course. They do face the Jets in week 4, which is a pretty tough matchup, but it's Travis Kelce. I think they'll have him game planned for sure. They gotta work him into that offense in order to score against a really good Jets defense. Now down to our flexes, we have Najee Harris, who has probably been the biggest flop for me. I drafted Najee. Sorry about my stomach, by the way. I just had breakfast, so it's going to be a little grumbly, but I drafted Najee thinking that the Steelers were going to take the next step this year, and they have done far from it. Although I think they are 2-1, aren't they? Yeah, they are 2-1. Their offense just has still been lackluster. It's been majorly because of their defense. They had a defensive touchdown against the Browns. I believe they had a good bit of takeaways against the Raiders as well. At least one takeaway I know of. I was expecting Najee to kind of take the next step, and he's been very lackluster. Now, his projections are still really good. After watching him play, as much as it pains for me to say this, Najee Harris looks really, really bad. He looks really, really slow. Not very explosive. He definitely is a power back. Like, he is 6'1", 242. Like, he is a load. So, I'm thinking he should start seeing more goal line production, if the matchup is right. And the matchup is right this week. Houston is really bad against running backs. I'm hoping this is the week that he scores his first touchdown. And of course, he's not really a big factor out of the backfield as far as targeting goes. Receptions, he's not a very good receiving running back, and I knew that going in, but I thought that he would be a bigger focal point, moving forward. But I don't know. I'm still optimistic about Najee Harris, but it's not looking good. And then my boy Zach Moss, man, I love this kid so freaking much. He has been riddled with injuries his entire professional career. He is a Utah grad. I don't know if you guys remember him back when he was with Utah, but he used to absolutely tote the football, and he is quite possibly, as long as Jonathan Taylor is on the sidelines, Zach Moss could be a legitimate running back, a legitimate player for me, and potentially a league winner if he stays healthy. There's a lot of ifs with this statement, right? There's a lot of ifs. If he stays healthy, and if Jonathan Taylor stays out, those are two big ifs. Then Zach Moss, I'm very, very, very high on him. It looks like his projections are falling off. I don't know why. Let's see. Maybe Jonathan Taylor is coming back week 5. Has he already announced that he's coming back week 5? I might be completely ignorant to that fact. I might be completely ignorant. Let's go players. Let's go Taylor, Jonathan Taylor. Let me see. Running back Jonathan Taylor appears ready to return from the PUP list according to ESPN. Okay, so this is brand new breaking news 2 hours ago. Dang. Okay. The 24-year-old was placed on the PUP list ahead of week 1 due to an ankle issue. It probably looks... What the heck was that? Your part looks great and has been moving around well lately. It certainly appears that Taylor's ready to get back on the field. He won't be eligible to return until week 5. Dang it. Okay, never mind. I was really hoping that Jonathan Taylor wasn't going to come back this season, just because of Zach Moss. I really wanted Zach Moss to have a chance to shine as a starting running back in the NFL, outside of the fact that I have him on my fantasy league, on my fantasy team rather. Go away. Let's see here, and then I've been streamlining my defense. I'm going Minnesota's defense this weekend against Carolina. Again, Carolina's offense should not do too much. I've got New England's defense on the bench, but they're facing Dallas this week, and I think I'd rather just go and take my chances with like the Vikings. I value the opponent, like who my defense is facing, more than my actual defense. Like obviously New England's defense is way better than Minnesota, but they're facing the Cowboys, who have looked pretty good. As much as it pains me to say that, they've looked pretty good, and meanwhile the Carolina Panthers not so much. This could change come Sunday. I don't know. Now we have the bench. We have Russell Wilson, who is quarterback number 10. I honestly am close to committing to Russell Wilson, as crazy as that sounds. He has been pretty great as far as fantasy goes. His worst game was this week against Miami, and it's because he didn't score a second touchdown. I'm gonna keep monitoring this situation for sure. Trevor Lawrence has been kind of lackluster. If Russell Wilson is more, if he is more consistent moving forward, I might have to just start him every week. He does face the Bears this week, which honestly is a better matchup. But I don't know. I don't know if I can bench Trevor Lawrence, especially Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna be on prime time. They're playing in London this week on Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m., which gives me a chance to watch, my Falcons play, and might make it a little bit more interesting if I'm starting Trevor Lawrence, and ETN, of course. It's a really important game to me. Next we have KJ Osborne, who I picked up last week because I was missing Christian Watson. I traded for Christian Watson. He didn't play last week, and so I had to go and pick up somebody off the waivers. And this game right here, the Chargers and Vikings game, was going to be electric. I knew it was going to be electric, and so I picked up KJ Osborne. He's the wide receiver 3 for the Vikings, and he just so happened to score a touchdown. Next we have Jalen Hyatt, who I traded. I kind of rushed my trade. I didn't really give it too much thought. something. Week 2 against Arizona, he had on 21% of the snaps, had 2 catches on 2 targets for 89 yards. And I thought he scored a touchdown, to be honest. I thought that this would be the big light bulb for the Giants. Oh my God, Jalen Hyatt, he's a legitimate threat. He is a wide receiver 1, because let's be honest, look at this wide receiver depth chart. Jalen Hyatt is the best wide receiver. I don't care. Jalen Hyatt at Tennessee was dominant. Of course, he had a quarterback that could get him the ball. Darius Slayton. I mean, like, none of these other guys have done anything really for the Giants. I'd say the Giants' wide receiver core is probably the weak spot of this football team. Give your rookie a chance to go and make a difference. So I traded Romeo Doubs for Jalen Hyatt. Again, I rushed it. I had just acquired Christian Watson. I didn't need 2 Green Bay receivers. I probably should have gotten more than Jalen Hyatt, but I didn't want to risk him, blowing up again, and then all of a sudden he's a legitimate wide receiver 1. It was a buy low situation for me, and it's just not working out yet. Now, who's to say it won't work out later in the year? Injuries do happen. Obviously, we don't wish for injuries, but they do happen. And if they do, then maybe Jalen Hyatt will get a little bit more of, it's a long season. That's all I'm trying to say. And Daniel Jones has looked pretty bad. Pretty bad. The Giants in general have looked pretty bad. But you look at their schedule, they faced Dallas week 1, which was an absolute massacre. And then they faced Arizona, which was looking like an absolute massacre until they came back. And then they faced San Francisco. So 2 of the best teams in the NFL. That's pretty unlucky. To be honest, as far as schedule goes. Speaking of injuries, we have Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston, who I drafted knowing that the Chargers wide receiver core, oh man, they've already swapped him into wide receiver 2. That's awesome. I drafted Quentin Johnston knowing that Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are very, very, very injury prone. And unfortunately, again, I don't root for injuries, but unfortunately Mike Williams, who was having a great year through 3 weeks, tore his ACL, probably out for the season. That's usually a season-ending injury. That's usually a surgery, and you're not back for like a whole year. It sucks. It sucks for Mike Williams, because I actually like Mike Williams, but Quentin Johnston moves into that wide receiver 2 spot on what is an extremely explosive offense in the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert, man, I might need to trade for Justin Herbert. That would be a nice little stack. If Quentin Johnston looks good, might be a nice little trade to get a stack. That would be nice. I love Justin Herbert. I liked him out of college. I thought he was the best. What was it? It was him and Fields together, right? And there was a couple other quarterbacks in that draft class that he was kind of compared to. Was it Josh Allen? Who else was in that draft class? Let me know in the comments. But actually, you know what? Who was in Justin Herbert players. Joe Burrow. Okay, it's kind of hard to say that he's better than Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow's been pretty terrible this year. Tua, that's right, dude. Wow. Looking back, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs. Yikes. Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson. Wow, this draft class was stacked. This draft class was absolutely stacked, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say that Justin Herbert was the best in his class when his class consisted of Joe Burrow and Tua. And yeah, I don't know who else was in the other. That article that I just read was like the top 9, but Justin Herbert has been one of the best quarterbacks out of that class. He's been probably the most consistent, especially now that Joe Burrow's been kind of lackluster through the first 3 weeks of the season. I would say Joe Burrow had the leg up, but he looks like he's regressed a little bit. Of course, he's dealing with injuries, but can't really blame him for that. Next up, we have Dalton Kincaid, who, if this man can score a touchdown, we're looking at a really solid tight end. So far the best tight end in this rookie draft class has definitely been Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta looks like he is a legitimate tight end, potentially a top 5 tight end in the NFL. I'm not kidding about that. You got Kelsey Hawkinson. He looks like Hawkinson. He reminds me of Hawkinson. And the Lions are using him like he's Hawkinson. You got Kelsey, Hawkinson. You got I guess like Waller when he's not injured. You got Kittle. You guys are gonna laugh when I say this. You got Kyle Pitts. I know we don't use Kyle Pitts, but you got Kyle Pitts. And then you got Apollo in here and come to say hi. You got Sam Laporta. And then of course we have New England's defense. So moving forward, let's look at the matchup here. We've already had Christian Watson play last night. Of course, we're facing Jordan Love and, you guessed it, Romeo Doubs, or Dubes, and Luke Musgrave. So Luke Musgrave got hurt with a concussion, unfortunately, on a 1-yard catch. That's tough. 0.85. That's going to be hard to come back from, but all it's going to take is one flop from any one of my players, and I'll be screwed. I think I've done a pretty good job of getting an extra receiver in Christian Watson. Thankfully, I dumped Alexander Madison right before. I got really lucky with that trade. It's the only trade. Well, I've made 2 trades. The other one was rushed, like I said, but I think that was a great trade for me. Moving forward, I think Christian Watson is going to be dominant. Jordan Love has looked really good, especially fantasy-wise. I don't know about like in-game wise, but fantasy-wise, he's looked really good. And if he's looked really good, that's going to mean Christian Watson should get, a good, fantasy output week after week. I don't know what this is over here, but yeah, we can look at the trading block here. Here's all the players on the trading block. Let's see, Kyle Pitts, nice, okay, Kyle Pitts, Anthony Richardson's on the trading block, A.J. Dillon, Miles Sanders, Gabe Davis. I've got Najee on the trading block. I've got DJ Moore on the trading block. Montgomery's on the trading block, interesting. Pat Mahomes, Calvin Ridley. I've thought about going out and getting Calvin Ridley, but I'm afraid I can't really give him what he's asking. And it hasn't really happened, but that is for season long. Moving over to daily fantasy sports. Like I said, I'm like 2-1 in the main slates and 1-1 in single game slates. We can look at the history. Last night I had two different lineups that were just slightly different. I actually had Montgomery as my MVP last night. I was one of 4% of people who had Montgomery as their MVP. If Jahmyr Gibbs had scored a touchdown or done, anything, to be fair, it's not really his fault. The Lions aren't using Jahmyr Gibbs, which is insane to me. Then I would have won a whole lot more, but we won $102 off of $24 worth of entries, and then $21 off of $10 worth of entries. We can go back and look further. Here is, what is this? This was Hurts, Williams, Mixon, Atwell. Oh, that's right. I forgot I played Monday Night Slate, and I won money on that too, so I completely forgot about that win. So I'm actually like 3-1 and 1-1. Is that what I said? I think that's what I said. Never mind. I lost the week before when I was on vacation, when I was at the beach. That's when I had Trevor Lawrence and ETN versus the Chiefs. That game was not nearly as high scoring as I thought it was going to be. And I had Ridley. Or was this? That wasn't against the Chiefs, was it? I thought that they were going to have a bounce back game. No, this was this week. And I did not have Mostert, who was like 50% owned, that went for like 1 million points. That's honestly the only reason I didn't cash. I had a pretty solid score. 112 is a decent score. It's actually more than 93. It's more than, 93 is a single game slate. 112 is more than, let's go September, all of September. 122 is not more than 122, but you get the idea. It's still a decent score, and I just didn't cash because I didn't have Mozart. Looking at the upcoming slate, I do have a lineup for the single game slate. I've got Calvin Ridley as my MVP. I've got Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram, and Desmond Ridder. I don't know that I'll keep this. Again, single game slates, you gotta be a little creative with who you choose as your MVP. Like last night, I was one of 4% of people who had Montgomery as their MVP, and he went for 3 touchdowns. If Calvin Ridley can just do half of that, then he'll probably be the MVP. Kyle Pitts is really cheap. Really cheap. Kind of pair him with Desmond Ridder. And then Evan Ingram paired with Trevor Lawrence along with Calvin Ridley as the MVP. That's kind of the thought process there. I did look at a potential swap of like Kyle Pitts. Let's see. I think I had Young Hoku and the Falcons defense, because Trevor Lawrence has looked so bad. Falcons defense could be in play as like a potential like sneaky cheap pick. Let's see what they've done. Offensive rank Jaguars 16th. They've had 3, 1, and 12. They had 12 against Carolina. Atlanta Falcons defense is, I think, underrated, but we'll see. Definitely, probably will be putting them in at least one lineup for the single game slate. But we can go back and we can look at this, the season slate, or the main slate, and I was actually toying around with this morning. I'm going to take out Kamara, I'm going to take out Sutton, I'm going to take out Thielen, and James Cook. I actually like the Denver stack this week, the Bears stack this week. Denver, obviously, they just gave up 70 points. That sounds silly just saying that out loud. They gave up 70 points to Miami, and Chicago is by no means Miami, but I think a lot of what's going on in Chicago is Justin Fields' mental and the coaching. The coaching has been kind of questioned. Combine that with the fact that Justin Fields is 7,200, which is really cheap for a quarterback. We can go and look at other quarterbacks. You got Russell Wilson, 7,500, 7,200. Wow, Joe Burrow is 7,200. That's crazy. Joe Burrow is probably going to be chalk, if I had to guess. Wow, Dak Prescott. Well, Dak Prescott against the Patriots. Mac Jones against Dallas. Bryce Young against Minnesota could be a decent play. Matt Stafford is really cheap. Dobbs is still really cheap, but he's facing San Francisco. So I would say Justin Fields or Joe Burrow. I might end up going Joe Burrow. Let's look at Joe Burrow's game log. Oh no. Well, Cleveland apparently has the number 1 ranked defense. Tennessee Titans have no pass defense. I do like Joe Burrow there. Could go with maybe a Bengals stack. Matter of fact, maybe we can find a way to get Jamar Chase in here, who is kind of trending up. Oh, I just realized I was looking at this wrong. I was looking at that completely wrong, wasn't I? Let's go back to Joe Burrow. Game log. Yeah, this is week 1, 2, and then 3, so I thought that was week 3. This is week 3. I mean, yeah, I don't hate that play at all. I don't hate that play at all. I think I would rather go Justin Fields and then try and get Jamar Chase. Okay, that leaves us with 6,300 per player. Running back. Let's go look at running back again. I had Kamara at 6,500. Najee Harris is in a really good spot. He is in a really good spot against Houston. Houston's looked good, but you take a look. Wow, actually their rush defense has kind of improved. But I mean, look at this. I think what's his name? Matt Nagy, right? No, what's his name? The offensive coordinator. Who's the offensive coordinator for the Steelers? He's really, really bad. Like really, really bad. I feel like they were trying to establish a run game last week, and they should try and do that again. Let's go down and look at a little bit cheaper options here. There's not really too many cheap options. Outside of Najee, you could go James Conner, but again, he's got the tough matchup. Joshua Kelly is out of play this week. Gus Edwards, really tough matchup. Khalil Herbert. Is Khalil Herbert the running back 1? He is, isn't he? Splitting backfield duties was the Rashawn Johnson. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see outside of Najee. I mean, you could go Kamara for a little bit more. Honestly, you could go with them both. That's what I had. I had Kamara, and then I had Najee down here at the flex. And that leaves me with 6,300 for the last wide receiver spot, which I could go down and get Gentry Hopkins, Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell's been really good. Tank Dell has been really good. 23, wow. Really, really good. Tank Dell. Joshua Palmer is here, who I believe scored. Yeah, he scored once. I thought he scored twice. Could go Joshua Palmer. Could go all the way down and get Quentin Johnston. Or, DeAndre Hopkins is obviously always. Let's see. Limited on Thursday. I mean, I don't know why this man is even practicing, to be honest. You know what you're getting out of DeAndre Hopkins every week. I'll tell you what, we'll just throw him in for now as a placeholder. Maybe you can go down and get. Let's go down and get Johnston. How much is Johnston? 5,200. Oh man, against the Raiders too. That is a big punt. I like that play. That leaves us with 1,100 to go and upgrade somebody else. I think that's too much value in one lineup though. Could go and get. Let's see, who could we get over Najee? Jalen Waddle's back. Joe Mixon back. Suddenly we can stack Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. I don't hate it. You can kind of swap Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, depending on who you like more. Those are two offenses that have been really terrible to start the season, but guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you have any suggestions on fantasy sports players to maybe start, Quentin Johnson, wow, 5,200, that is a steal. That is a crazy punt of a play right there. Great matchup, and the Raiders, you just wonder what's going to happen with that. But that might be a must-start situation right there. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. But that's going to do it for today's video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.